the first question that I would say we get most of the time when you tell someone that you're collecting information from the dark net is, well, what is the dark web and how is it different than the open web? So Avishag, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the differences between the open web, the deep web, and the dark web.
Sure. So the open web basically meaning everything that can be indexed in search engines, traditional search engines on the web. This can be Bing, Yahoo, and of course Google. So if you can find the site on one of these search engines by a simple search, then it is an open website that everyone can view or visit. Deep web, meaning it does not index in search engine. You cannot search for it, you cannot find it unless you go a certain process of, I would say, validation or verification. This might be you entering a username or bypassing a paywall, for example. So this is deep web. You cannot just access this information. So search engines can just crawl it and find it. And dark web is a higher level of deep web. Dark web requires not only it is a deep web, of course, it requires another level of action, I would say, to get in. So this might be a different software, a different browser, a different extension to the browser you're working on. And this provides you another layer of anonymity. And it's really hard to track your IP and where you're coming from. So this is the most basic difference between all three.
Okay, so now that we have a better understanding of the differences between the open, the deep, and the dark web, Avishag, can you tell us a little bit more about what type of illicit content can we find on each of these, types of sites?
Sure, but let's start with defining illicit content. So we usually break down the big term illicit content into several different categories. This can be drugs and weapon and terror, or it can be data leaks, cyber threats such as hacking, ransomware, and this can even be counterfeit or financial fraud. So we have all types of this illicit content. And most of them exist in all of these layers, but let's take, for example, data leaks. So data leaks can be found on the open web, the deep web, and the dark web. However, there are specific places you can find them in. On the open web, we see them mostly on forums or on pay sites. On the deep web, we see them again on forums and instant messaging apps. This is not uncommon. And on the dark web, we see it on forums and marketplaces. I actually wrote an entire blog post on this, and I really specified everything into table, so you can see exactly which type of illicit content is found in which layer of the web and in which type of site it can be found in.
Okay, so now that we have a better understanding of the type of sites that go into the open, deep, and the dark web, are there any exceptions to this rule?
Yes, it would actually be a surprise for you to discover that there are sites that are both open web, deep web, and also dark web. So I want to show you how exactly this is possible. In my example, I will be focusing on Russian market. Russian market is a marketplace for login credentials that are being up for sale, and this is how some ransomware attacks can start. So it's a really important site to monitor, and I want to show you how and where we can find it. Okay, so I'm starting with Russian market search on Google, and I can actually see the site is being indexed in a Google search engine. So this makes it open web. At least the first page of this website is open web, and it can be indexed in traditional search engines. So right here, we are blocked by register, which makes the site some of the site deep web. So the further pages of the sites are deep. Here I actually already logged in, so you can see the site screen, and you can also see the sites providing you links to some open web and also to two different dark web. And this is on the specific Tor network addresses. And if I'm entering them, you can see this is the exact same site we're entering. This makes this site both open web since it indexes in Google, deep web since it has logging require pay and also a paywall that is required to view the content, and it is also dark web.